I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to our ongoing Operation Freedom Health and Wellness series. This is a series of presentations that my co-host, Dr. Peter Glidden, and I have done for, 3 years.
Many moons.
Many moons, Kimosabi. Our goal has been to try, and I believe successfully, provide you with information that you're not going to get from any other source. By profession, I am trained as an MD. Peter is trained as an ND, a naturopathic doctor. Peter is one of the top naturopathic physicians in our country. My track record is of taking care of people on the front line of healthcare delivery as an orthopedic surgeon for 32 years and running a prevention-related program to prevent people from getting injured and getting ill. Imagine that. Big medicine didn't like that. That's oh, no. What Peter and I have tried to do, and successfully done, I believe, is empower you. Provide you with information that you're not going to get from the medical industrial complex. And in the process, empower you. Not the insurance company, not the AMA, not big government, not big pharma, but to empower you and how you can harness your own body as it relates to health and wellness. This is something the establishment, the syndicate, does not want you to know about. Why? Because they can't make the kind of money out of it that they currently make in the current, if you will, operation that has been in place for well over 100 years. My co-host, Dr. Glidden, is, as I mentioned, an outstanding naturopathic physician, but he is also a phenomenal author. His 2 books should be the foundation of your library. Everybody is Sick and I Know Why, An Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicine. Today, our topic is entitled How to Escape the Medical Mousetrap. Oh, hey, Pete, why don't we rename it? How to Escape the Medical Guillotine.
Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah, it's better. It's more accurate. Okay, so let's go for it, Pete. Let's educate folks on escaping the medical guillotine.
Run, baby, run.
Yeah, right.
Run, Forrest, run. Run as fast as you can.
Yeah, it's true.
So the only thing that's going to flip this switch, the only remedy here for this situation is education and knowledge. That's the only remedy. I mean, can you imagine back in the caveman days when somebody figured out how to make fire, right? That was...
Hey, leave Joe Biden out of this. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a big step. And knowledge. So the problem that we're experiencing in this country is we have grown up inside of a medical monopoly for 110 years now. Mm-hmm. And the medical monopoly is so entrenched in the fabric of society that nobody even knows it's a monopoly. It's a perfect storm. So because of the monopoly, we have been socialized to believe that the medical doctors are the only go-to people for everything medical, for everything. And that everybody who's not a medical doctor is a back-of-the-bus quack with substandard, dangerous training. That's what we've been socialized to believe. That's what exists in the subconscious. And it's consolidated by pragmatic reality. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look around, the only medicine practiced in the hospitals is MD medicine. The only medicine they do research on at the universities is MD medicine. The only medicine that they make TV shows about is MD medicine. And by and large, the only medicine that your insurance pays for is MD medicine. So the average Joe on the street, Jane on the avenue, looks around and says, well, MD-directed allopathic medicine is everywhere all the time. Therefore, they must be better than everybody else. I mean, that's a reasonable conclusion, unless you understand through knowledge the data point of the takeover of the medical marketplace in 1912. And it was a hostile takeover.
It was. Mm-hmm.
of the medical marketplace. Everybody who didn't prescribe drugs and perform surgery was kicked off the bus, labeled a quack. Medical schools that were not in line with this were shut down or had to close because of financial pressure. They couldn't keep up. And it's been like that for over 100 years. And so we exist inside of a system which generates mediocre at best results for chronic illness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the wheelhouse of conventional medicine is what Dave did. Surgery when it's necessary, trauma care, military field medicine, right? Childbirth, complication childbirth, dentistry, conventional medicine, fantastic for that. And by the way, that's where all of the advances in modern medicine in the last 100 years have been made. Surgical techniques, surgical drugs, and new diagnostic stuff. It's fantastic. Robot surgery now, fantastic. What can be done? But for everything that everybody goes to the doctor for most of the time, chronic disease, heart disease, asthma, everything else, allopathic medicine is a failure. And let me say it again, kindly, it's a failure.
And it's a failure, Pete. Tell me if I'm wrong. It's because they focus on management of chronic illnesses as opposed to rectifying the underlying foundation of why that illness occurred to begin with.
Yeah, and it's an eye-opener for most people.
Yeah, it is.
And all you have to do is do a Google search for any medical condition you want. It doesn't matter what it is. Do a Google search for asthma. Do a Google search for fibromyalgia. Do a Google search for hypertension. Doesn't matter. You'll go to WebMD or Wikipedia, and you will read that nobody knows, conventional medicine is clueless as to the causes of these illnesses. Arthritis may be caused. Fibromyalgia might be due to. The language that's used is not definitive. Because understanding if the pathophysiological process was understood, there would be a cure for this condition. There would be preventive techniques for these conditions, but prevention or cure is not the business model here. And this is another data point that's really difficult for people to accept. But it's true that conventional medicine, when it comes to chronic illness, does not train its physicians to cure the condition. It trains its physicians to manage the problem. And the problems are managed with pharmaceuticals, and then more pharmaceuticals, and then more pharmaceuticals, and then somebody dies. And oh, by the way, while they were paying a small fortune for access to this type of medicine and medical insurance premiums every month, they got sick. So while they were under this care, this medical care, they got sick. And then the treatments were not intended to cure, and the medical system had no idea what caused it in the first place. And this is what passes as the best medicine in the world. It's medical mediocrity, and it's a race to the bottom. And you don't have to believe me. All you have to do is open your eyes and look around. How many of your loved ones are healthy? How many of your loved ones look healthy? How many of your loved ones are not taking any prescription medications? I mean, what's going on here? This is why the title of my first book is Everybody is Sick.
And I know why.
And I know why. It's not because you're getting older. It's not because you have a bad gene. It's because you've taken the wrong dog to the hunt when it comes to healthcare. You just have. And you didn't know it. You didn't know any better. It's not your fault. It's society's fault. And here we are. So what's the remedy? Well, knowledge. You got to educate yourself, and you got to, and the irony here is people think, oh, now I have to educate myself about medicine. So people think, oh, what do I have to do? Go to medical school? Oh, I have to read all these medical books?
No.
Well, I'm here to tell you that another thing that you've been fooled by, that I'm here to unfool you, is the notion that healing the body is complicated. I've got news for you. Healing is easy. Surgery is complicated. Healing the body is easy because your body wants to fix itself.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Your body has the ability to fix itself.
It does.
It needs a little help.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not complicated. You've been lied to. If you're smart enough to pass the driver's license test, you're smart enough to learn the simple steps that you can take right now to make your body strong and healthy and strong and healthy and strong and healthy and strong and healthy. And that's a smart strategy. Because if you do nothing and just keep your fingers crossed, well, the chances are high something's going to break. You're going to wake up one day, you're going to have something. Then you're going to be frightened. Then you're going to be anxious. Then you're going to think to yourself, what am I going to do? Well, I've paid $300,000 in medical insurance premiums my whole life. I think I'll go to my medical doctor. And then you're inside the medical mousetrap. Mm-hmm. And look, I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how often you've listened to Dave and I, just kind of like from the sidelines. Once you are physically inside a medical building, you are intellectually intimidated. And anything that the medical professionals will tell you, you're just going to kind of, well, okay, doc. Because it's an intimidating situation, and that also was done on purpose. So you have to smarten up, and you have to smarten up now before it's too late. Because once something breaks and you're in the medical mousetrap, you can get out of it, but it's much harder to do it. So what are we going to do? You have to educate yourself. You have to go to the websites, operationfreedomhealth.com, drglidden.com. You have to go to our Facebook channels, have to go to our YouTube channels, have to listen to the stuff that we produce. Have to bring yourself up to speed with what foods to not eat. You have to bring yourself up to speed with what nutrients your body is crying for desperately every day. Have to bring yourself up to speed about what can I do in addition to the foundation nutritional stuff and the dietary stuff to support my kidney function, to support my lung function, to support my bone and joint function, to support whatever it is. Mm-hmm. We know what to do. Mm-hmm. It's not like this is a mystery, but it's the undiscovered country for most people. I mean, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. Most people, I mean, just float this question at your next dinner party. Ask people what naturopathic medicine is and see what they say. They'll say, nature what? 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 Nobody even knows how to pronounce it, let alone know what it can do. And that also was on purpose. Because we say it 1,000 times and it sounds like, where it's just an old saw and we've got an axe to grind. Well, I do have an axe to grind. But it's the truth. Big Pharma does not want you to know what Dave and I know. They do not want you to know it. They don't. So you should learn it. And it's not that hard.
It isn't.
Take action steps right now, so that you're smarter and stronger into the bargain.
So let's talk about the action steps, Pete. As you've been a huge proponent, and you have helped tens of thousands of people with the recommendations of first, you got to watch what you eat. There are bad foods that will adversely affect your health and wellness. So you produced a video of the 12 bad foods. It's free. It's on our website. It's at operationfreedomhealth.com in the top. 12 bad foods. First step. But in addition to that, Pete, educate our listeners on the nutritional side of this, of how they can pull off, if you will, the great escape from the medical mousetrap or the medical guillotine.
Well, let's say you were lucky enough to win the lottery, and you go out and you buy a brand new Mercedes. Top of the line. Excellent car. I love that car. Fantastic car. But you never get it tuned up. And you put the crappiest fuel in it that you can afford because you want your money to go a long way. And over time, the car's going to start running not so good. Why? Because you were putting the wrong fuel in it and you never tuned it up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the human body needs to be tuned up.
Mm-hmm.
The fuel that we put in the human body is defined by the elimination of the 12 bad foods. Now, it's entirely possible that there are other foods that your individual body doesn't like, and we can only figure that out with blood work individually.
Mm-hmm.
But generically, everybody should just stop eating these foods. I mean, everybody should stop smoking cigarettes. Nobody should drink a fifth of whiskey a day, and nobody should inhale asbestos. We can all agree to that. Well, guess what? Everybody should also eliminate these 12 foods because they're bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, they will hurt you. It's inevitable. And I think more importantly, you got to give your body the raw materials that it needs. I mean, you're smart enough to know you got to drink water and breathe air and eat food. I mean, try going without food or water for a couple days and see what happens. It's no bueno.
Mm-mm.
Well, if you're undernutrified,
Mm-hmm.
your body needs this much calcium, but you've only got this much.
Mm-hmm.
Your body needs this much selenium, it's only got this much. Your body needs this much vitamin B like baby, it's only got this much. And oh, by the way, 57 other nutrients, half of which you've never even heard of before. Your body's deficient in those. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
My
It's
vote
not
is
rocket science.
no, it's not. It's not. So many people say, Pete, well, I eat healthy, so that solves that problem. I got an organic garden in the back, and everything I eat is organic. Actually, Pete, okay, good for those folks. It's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. Educate our listeners on what their foundation should be to be, if you will, from a nutrient standpoint, to be their foundation for wellness and health.
And by the way, this information is academic. It's not debatable.
Right.
We've known about this since the 1930s when Congress reported, when the American Agricultural Society or whatever it is, it was the federal government's Department of Agriculture, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
They reported to Congress, look, the minerals in the soil are not what they used to be, and that's a big flipping problem, and it's going to cause all these health conditions. We got to figure this out. That was reported to Congress in the 30s, and they did nothing about it.
Here we are, 100 years late, 90 years later.
Gee, I wonder if Big Pharma had anything to do with that.
Yeah, well, you bet it did.
So it's good if you eat organic,
Yeah.
because if you don't eat organic, there's all this crap that's in the food,
Mm-hmm.
pesticides, herbicides, who knows what else, and that's going to linger in the body. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
So eating organic, you eliminate that vector of slow poison, but you're not going to get the nutrients that you need.
No.
Because the nutrients are not in the soil. They're not. Some of them are, otherwise the plant couldn't grow. But the plant needs 6, you need 60. Human body needs 60 essential nutrients. Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and essential fatty acids. 90 essential nutrients. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 fatty acids. These are essential. Your body needs them, but it can't make them. And they're not all in the food.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think they are, you're wrong. The 2 + 2 does not equal 5. It equals 4.
Mm-hmm.
So supplementing your diet with vitamins, minerals, amino acids is mandatory. It's not optional. And if you don't do that, you're going to get sicker faster. Things are going to break faster the same way that your car would break faster if it was never tuned up. So you have to do this. And when you do this, you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And the proof of this pudding is in the eating, pun intended. Because you take this stuff, your body responds and starts to fix itself. And it's never done that before. It'll be the first time in your life your body's been properly nutrified, and that's a game changer.
It is.
All of a sudden, your pain's reduced, your energy's better, your sleep's better, your sex drive's better. It's like, wow, I didn't know what I was missing. I know you didn't know what you were missing. Nobody does. Otherwise, there would be a bum's rush to my office and every other naturopathic doctor's office in this country. So this is the cutting edge. Well, we've been talking about this professionally for 30 years, but nobody knows about it. So in this regard, it's the cutting edge, because even though it's science-based, clinically verified for decades, very few people are aware of it. Very few people. You need to count yourself amongst those. Slam these doors and kick these tires. Eliminate the 12 bad foods. Take the 90 essential nutrients, which are found in the foundation pack, for 90 days, 3 months. Do a 90-day in-house experiment and see how you feel. I'll tell you a little story. We just took a summer vacation to Italy for a couple of weeks. And we were in, like, the birthplace of pizza.
No.
Right? It was in the Tuscany region. I think the city was Florence, right? Where Michelangelo's David was, which was remarkable, quite frankly. It was an unbelievable work of art.
He's now, by the way, he's now in Michigan, but go ahead. No, sorry.
So, I said, well, I've been nutrified for, 20 years. I'm good. Yeah. I've got an ironclad stomach. I'm going to have pizza in the birthplace of pizza. By the way, for those of you new to this venue, wheat is amongst the 12 bad foods. Don't eat wheat. Don't do it. So I had a little personal pizza made from wheat. No problem, right? Problem. For the next 4 days, I had diarrhea, stomach aches, chills, and fever for 4 days. One pizza did that to me because, it's bad for you. But it's like cigarettes. If you eat food that's bad for you every day, it's like you don't feel the negative effects.
Yeah.
Because it's slow. You don't feel your hair growing. It grows. You don't feel it. You don't feel your skin regenerate. You don't feel any of that. It's happening. So when you get away from it, however.
Yeah. Trouble.
And then you eat it on a whim. Trouble. So look, and also I was talking to Dave about this before the show, right? We have so far identified 12 foods which are generically just big bad voodoo daddy. Don't even look at these foods, let alone eat them. These 12 foods are what most people eat most of the time. And that's not a coincidence. Because what happens when you put diesel fuel into an unleaded engine? The car breaks down. So when you unwittingly eat the wrong food every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, you're going to get sicker. You're going to get unhealthier. Things are going to start to break. And then you're going to go to a conventional medical doctor who has no idea what causes the problem, who has had no training in clinical nutrition, and whose only job is to keep you from dying in his office or her office and to manage your problem with drugs, which will make you sicker and weaker over time. And who wins? Big Pharma wins. Who loses? You lose. So snap out of it. It is a medical mousetrap / guillotine when it gets bad. Oh, by the way, leading cause of death in the United States. MD-directed medical treatments for chronic disease. So educate yourself, bring yourself up to speed. It's not hard. Take the 90 essential nutrients, eliminate the 12 bad foods, and then you tell me how the heck you feel.
Pete, we've tried to make this as easy as possible for folks. The website, operationfreedomhealth.com, has that video about the 12 bad foods, free. It has the foundation pack available and other information about the foundation pack and a number of other entities and medical conditions. So we've tried to condense that information on the website. Now, full disclosure, purchase of the products and Operation Freedom Health does support this platform. In addition, Pete has a phenomenal website drglidden.com with more in-depth information, as well as his books. Everybody is Sick and I Know Why, and Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicine are available through the site. Pete,
I just read that book again the other day.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's great. No, it's absolutely great. And in fact, that's the thing about those books, is you do go back. You do go, not just when someone is like sick in the family, or someone has certain symptoms, or someone's not, but you just go back to it and you go, oh. And the beauty is, every time you go back to it, you not only refresh your memory on the issue, but you always pick up something else.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. It really is. So, Everybody's Sick and I Know Why, an Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicine. We are there for you 24/7, not just during these videos, but 24/7 at OperationFreedomHealth.com and drglidden.com. Pete, I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. I'd like to thank you folks for joining us today. You can join us 24/7 again, as I said, OperationFreedomHealth.com, Dr. Glidden, Glidden, drglidden.com. Until next time, Dave Jana signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.